I'm here with Gooner Lee. Gooner Lee, I know we spoke previously. You've not been happy with the performances and with the manager, so I'm presuming that you're not going to be happy with what you saw today, that's for sure. But Arsenal 2, Aston Villa 2, take it away. What's your thoughts on the game?
I mean, look, I keep saying the same thing over and over again. I'm more worried about the fans that are, in support of these players and the manager. I have to. That's where everything's going to root back to. Whether you think it's some of the players that aren't good enough, whether you think it's the board, they all kind of circle it back to one person: the manager. The manager is the person that is a real eyesore in this situation. I think people are going to keep looking at players and, players aren't performing, players aren't doing this, players aren't doing that. But he brought them in. He's entrusted these players. He's given them the license to thrill, and they're coming up, can't even hit the target. They can't do this, they can't do that. It's down to one person for me. And as I said, for me, look, I don't need to lose my head, because this team, they give me the football ick. Like, Love Island's just started. So if anybody, that's a new term that I just learned, the ick. And that's what they give me. They give me the football ick. The manager himself, like, he's embarrassing. Like, there's nothing about him.
Can I stop you there, right? Because I'm interested to know. So, because to be fair to you, I can remember a time when you backed the manager.
I did.
I do actually remember that. So it's not like you've been on this tirade just like in a kind of reactionary way. Mm-hmm. Can I ask you, tell the people, when did your opinions change on the manager?
The day he got Sterling in, it was then for me. Like, I just think the whole summer, like the constant lies, like you look at him, he's changed. Like, when he came in, he was a breath of fresh air. He would answer questions. Now it's all of these stupid little gimmicks that he's doing. He just bores me. Like, he bores me to death. I spend half my time pretending that I'm watching paint rather than watching football. He's that boring. He doesn't have any idea how to win. And ultimately, we've come from a great place, from a poor place, and now we're in a good place. But we don't win. We don't win. So we can do funny enough, Turkish is wearing his purple jumper. We can do the Barney songs all day long. We can do the happy-go-lucky songs all day long. We haven't won. I've seen Arsenal win a Premier League, so I'm not going to go and say, what we were to what we are now, and that's going to be my experience of Arsenal. That's not my experience. My experience is winning. We can laugh about Klopp. We can laugh about all these other managers that haven't won enough. We haven't won anything. I see everybody in the studio. I see people online doing hate-alongs against Arsenal. Have you seen against Liverpool? Sorry, today against Brentford away, hoping that they drop points. Have you seen Arsenal? We're pathetic. Arsenal are pathetic. Arsenal need to start. These fans need to start checking their rear view mirrors. You need to start looking at what we have at home, because there's a bloody there's something in the container. There's a freezer. There's a container in the freezer. Sorry, but there's no rice in there. It's actually ice cream. If you're Caribbean, that's a big shock. I'm telling you, we are finished in terms of being with this manager. He doesn't know how to get us to the promised land. And
okay, let me just interject there, because as I said to somebody I previously interviewed, Turkish actually, I said to him, I goes, look, we talk about the manager, and look, I can understand your frustrations and things like that, but let's be fair to the manager. You're 2-0 up against Villa in a game that you have to win. You're doing relatively well, I would say. I would say that Arsenal were comfortable at 2-0 up. And then in the 60th minute, the game changes and Villa scored 2 goals within 8 minutes. Can you really put that down to the manager, though?
He put Partey there. Who put Partey in that position? He could have put Timber right back. He could have played Kivior and entrusted him a game at home, have Gabriel to shepherd him around, shield him. He could have put Partey in midfield and do a double pivot with Rice. He could have not played Merino, who people don't like him, and put Odegaard in the 10 by himself up front. That's him to do. So we can keep going back to the players. I said everything's centered around the manager. So we can do all of these tacticals, and James can go and get his iPad out and find where he went wrong. Everything's going to go back to the manager. But people keep making out like it's good because at least we're not Man United. Is that the barometer of football now? That we're not down in the doldrums? I thought the actual thing that you want to do in football is win. Liverpool aren't even that great. They're not even that good. they've getting the freedom of Liverpool to just walk around the league, go to every team, drop points here, drop points there, win if they win by the skin of their teeth. And Arsenal just say, don't worry, take it, don't worry, no problem. Like, this was meant to be the year. This was meant to be the year that we was going to win it. Because Man City, we were told that Man City were the reason why we didn't win the league. I've backed him. I've backed him and I've backed him. There's no more backing no more. It's time for him to, unfortunately, his time is up. And it doesn't have to be, I keep saying it doesn't have to be you throw the baby off with the bathwater, sorry. You just need to find a way to get rid of this manager and get someone in who's going to get us to the point.
Okay, so let's say they do that. Well, let's be honest, that's very unlikely.
It is very unlikely.
It's almost not going to happen at all. But just say in your ideal world, the manager is relieved of his duties. Is there anyone out there that you've seen on the horizon that you'd bring in?
Pay me £5 million to do Eddie's old job and I'll do that. I don't watch enough football to know that. That's not my job. But Slot's shown you don't need to be the best manager to win, because he's clearly not got the reputation of somebody like a Klopp, somebody like a Pep, somebody like a Allegri. He hasn't. He's come in and he's shown that with the tools that you've got, you pick up and you move forward with it. He didn't have to come in and change the wheel. He didn't have to come in and do these things that were going to be out of the world. He's just come in and find a way to adapt. He didn't even get the bloody midfielder he wanted. He's actually having to adapt with a player that he didn't want in that position necessarily in Gravenberch. So we've got the players that I believe are of an adequate level to do better than what they're doing. Hopefully we find somebody. But don't ask me that question. You can't keep asking me who's the person to get, because I'm not in that position. But if you're asking me who to get, listen, there was somebody that went to Saudi the other day, a well-known manager who used to manage Juventus. There's Arsenal should have Arsenal should always have their eyes on the game, because Arteta could decide to leave one day, and then what? If Arteta didn't sign his contract in the summer or just a couple of weeks ago, we would have been stuck, right? We would have had to get a new manager. So why didn't they go and have that information? It's not down to me. Stop pressuring me to find out who the manager is. Pay me the money to do what Eddie did, because he's not even great himself, and now I'm glad he's gone. Then I'll give you the answers. But stop throwing these weird questions at me like, who's the person to get? And I'm not talking
No, I'm just curious, because you've been... But to be fair to you, I'm actually trying to be fair to you. Because I actually said, and it is true, that previously you've not spoken like this. So I know that things have happened to make you go down that road. Because previously I can remember having conversations with you and you were backing the manager, you were backing Havertz and people like that.
Bro,
now you're not convinced, which is fair enough.
Listen, I'm going to leave it here. The same energy everybody gives Havertz, give it to the manager. Because every single week, Havertz ain't good enough. Havertz misses this chance. Havertz misses that chance. The manager's shown 4 or 5 years in a row that he's fluffed his lines. Every time he goes through adversity, he drops the ball. Every time Havertz goes through and goal, he doesn't score. Bingo, there's a common consensus here. They're both not performing. Bingo, they both need to go then. Bingo, wake up, Arsenal fans.